Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to MindShifters Radio with your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie. Michael and Jeanie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Ar-amaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Ar-amaic, Rahma. Michael is the author of Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeanie Ryce.
And the truth that is rooted within me. Hi, and welcome to MindShifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce. And today is day 130 of our Memorial Day celebration. And what that is for everybody to take something, some little something in your life today that you're willing to get rid of, a hostility or fear, to bring peace about in the world. And so today's day 130. Our call-in number is 646-200-4169. Give us a call with your comments or questions. And also just to let everybody know that we now have come into partnership with another radio station, so you can hear us live not only on Blog Talk Radio /Earth Angels Radio, but also on Impact Player Music Nation Radio /Earth Angels Radio. So that's exciting that it just keeps growing and spreading, and we're looking forward to it just getting bigger and bigger. And we hope that you all participate with us and call in and ask your questions, and we're here to support you in that. Michael, are you with us?
I am, yes. And delighted to be.
Awesome.
Another awesome day in the Ozarks in southern Missouri. About 77, 78 degrees, sunny, blue skies. And we're broadcasting live from the Ozarks in southern Missouri, and we're delighted to be here with you. And that conversation Jeanie was having about Memorial Day. If you're not familiar with how to forgive, it has nothing to do with what this culture teaches as forgiveness. We've all been conned into thinking that forgiveness is about letting somebody else off the hook for something that's going on inside of us. If you're feeling hostility or fear, you'll notice that if you've been through it 87 different times with 42 different people, that you're the only one that was there every time. Guess what? If you've got hostility and fear, your hostility or fear is about you. It's not about anybody else. And guess what? You could live without it. However, if you don't have forgiveness, you can't ever get out of it, because that's the only way to remove what never belonged. And we've been building up this insanity of hostility and fear for so many centuries on this planet that human life has almost disappeared. That's why we're at war. And when I talk about human life, I'm talking about the definition of a human life in terms of this work is, imagine yourself holding a newborn child. And in holding that newborn, you have the awesome direct experience of a human life. That's what you and I are designed to live out of 24/7, 365. If we don't, then the tendency is to find somebody to go to war with. We're here to eliminate war. And so we invite you to join us. Go to our website, www.whyagain.com. On the right-hand side, you'll see a link that says Download Worksheets. The first 4 links will tell you the whole story about how the ancient Ar-amaic technology of removing what never belonged in the human structure in the first place is done. Again, forgiving has nothing to do with letting others off the hook. Please don't ever forgive anybody again for anything, mainly because you can't. Letting somebody off the hook, pardoning them, is not forgiveness, but that's what we've been taught to do. So join us in that project. And, Jeanie, are there any callers? Is Dr. Tim with us? Is David with us? Anything happening in the chat room?
There's nothing going on in the chat room. Oops, there. There's nothing going on in the chat room. David is not with us. Dr. Tim is.
Hello, hello.
Tim? Hey.
Welcome. We're having another beautiful day here in Illinois as well, and I have not had any success getting the chat room to load up yet, so I don't know what's going on there, but I am here, and
I will close it and reopen it and see if that helps it any. Because I thought it was unusual that we didn't have anybody out there, so.
Yeah, I have just a blank screen when I try and do that.
Okay. It came back up. We've got one guest out there, so welcome guest.
I did write the blog entry last night about the hiding things from myself, and haven't gotten any responses on it yet, but it ties in with the idea that I'm really creating my experience, and then when a part of my mind decides that it's too intense for me, then I hide it from myself. And, of course, then I'm using my own mind energy to hide it from myself, so I have fewer resources available to meet the day and be loving and flexible. And the more I do that, the more overwhelmed I feel as I get older. So when I get the chat room to come up, I'll put the link in there if anybody wants to check out that blog entry.
Awesome. Sounds like some worksheets on overwhelm.
Well, yeah, whenever I'm feeling that way, it's lots of worksheets on overwhelm. The other thing is I got the notification about Guy Finley's new book and a nice website that's out there called One Journey, a new website they've put up to try and do basically what you're trying to do and spread the word around the globe that we're all in this together and we're all creating our own experience, and recognition of that fact and the recognizing that there is no separation is a way to end all the conflict and war. So onejourney.net is the website.
So the website is officially launched?
Yep, it's up, and there's a 3-minute and 48-second video on there, and then there's the living book where you're encouraged to submit a quotation. And so that will be growing. And I suppose the website and its functionality will grow too, but it's up and launched. It's onejourney.net.
Well, that's awesome. We'll put the link on our website and encourage people to go and participate. And Guy is a friend of Dr. Tim's that Jeanie and I went and visited a couple of months ago out in Oregon. Has a beautiful center there. And we spent some time with him at his center, and he was sharing with us this living book that he's writing, where he's inviting people to come and participate and add to the book. So go to the website and please share some of your wisdom with Guy Finley's living book. So, Dr. Tim, have you had any other thoughts on where we went with yesterday, or where you and Jeanie went with yesterday's show? I thought it was great. Your conversation was awesome. I loved listening to it. I loved the way you talked about the way that we suck our energy out of existence, out of awareness, with the denial dissociation game, and certainly time for we humans to change that dynamic and reclaim our power.
Yeah, it's amazing how easily it happens when I'm young, and I can still have plenty of energy to live life and bounce around. But as I get older and I've stored more and more things in my unconscious with the conclusion that I can't handle it and that it would be too much for me, the weight of all that stored in my unconscious gets heavier, and the amount of mental energy I have to spend to keep it hidden from myself gets larger. And the mental games I have to go through to prove to myself I'm right and everybody else is wrong, despite all the evidence to the contrary, is a burden that makes my life feel more and more difficult as I get older. And I've had several people in the past few days share, when we've had discussions about this topic, share memories they've had of how they've done that very thing and how they've spent such a tremendous amount of energy hiding a secret from initially from other people and then eventually from themselves. And then when they stumble across what they're doing, they're just shocked to realize how far they've gone into building a false reality just to protect themselves from remembering something that's really kind of inconsequential.
Well, I loved the example you used yesterday of the movie A Few Good Men and the scene with Jack Nicholson where you can't handle the truth. And actually, we've got that movie. You need to look for it and watch it again because that is a great example of how we do that. And, you know, when you say as you get older and when you speak about that, one of the things that comes to my mind is that it is progressive generationally. One of the things that I've done some study of is a thing called iridology, which looks at the eye as a diagnostic panel for the body. And that mapped in the eye is the whole structure, and you can tell a lot about what's going on in the structure from the eye. And one of the things that you can do with iridology is you can tell what someone's constitution is. That is, there are some people who have a constitution of a horse. You know, they can do anything. I mean, they can smoke, they can drink, they can, carouse all night. And at 90, they'll fall over with a cigarette in their hand. And they'll say, see, smoking doesn't hurt you. See, I've done it all my life. Well, actually, you had the constitution of a horse and you could handle it. But let's look at your son's eye. Now, I've had the opportunity on 2 different occasions in working with iridology to look at 3 generations. The way that you tell what somebody's constitution is, if you look at the iris, you'll see that there are lines that run out from the pupil to the white of the eye. Those lines should be straight and tightly knit, close together. Someone who's got a strong constitution, find anybody that's in their 90s and look at their eye, and you'll see that, by and large, those lines are straight and they're tight together. If you look at the man who drank and caroused and smoked and fell over at 90 with a cigarette in his hand who says smoking and drinking doesn't hurt you, take a look at his son's eye, and what you'll see is that those fibers are not nearly as tightly woven, and they're crooked, and there are holes in it, and it's, when you know what a normal eye looks like, it's a mess. It's like really, really degraded. It's like, having this beautiful tree with all the leaves on it. It's full and it's gorgeous and it's beautiful. That's like Grandpa. And then you look at Dad, the next generation, and the tree has, rings where there are no branches, where the branches have become weak and broken off. The leaves are dead and brown. There's no sheen to them. The tree is obviously in a weakened condition. That's the son's eye. And then I've had the opportunity, as I say, on 2 occasions to look at the 3rd generation, the grandson's eye. Now, Grandpa never had any degenerative disease. Son will probably have cancer, heart attack, emphysema, some kind of degenerative condition going on by the age of 55 to 60. When you look at the son's constitution, it'll be a shock if he gets past 25. So not only does it affect us individually and as we age, because if we're living a life of denial, we're putting a burden and a load on, but that burden is passed on generationally. And I know for me personally, when I look back, when I first started to do this work, I was probably in the position somewhere between the grandpa and the son. And, if I could get away with sleeping till 10 in the morning, I'd do that. And if I had, my 4 cups of coffee, I could start to move around and get going. And that's, when I was in my 20s, that's where I lived. And now, on a normal day, if I'm not doing a lot of process work and such, it's like this morning, 5 o'clock. Mine was on go. I was down in the basement doing some plumbing work on our house. We're having some water problems. So, about 5:15, I'm down there this morning. Now, when I was in my 20s, you wouldn't have seen me in that basement till 11 o'clock. And I'd have needed my 5th cup of coffee. Well, I don't do stimulants. I don't do coffee. And, when we start to see how we burden ourselves with things that are unnecessary, it's amazing when we begin to clean it up. And we step outside of that non-being mind, that mind based in hostility or fear, and choose on a conscious basis, on an ongoing basis, to undo the hostility and fear and make of this body-mind unit a fit vehicle for the expression of love on the earth, because that's what it's really for. Jeanie, do you have any callers? Any thoughts in the chat room? Tim, does that stimulate any thoughts for you?
Yeah, I tried to just allude to that slightly in the blog entry, that it really does get easier. We talk about how hard it is, and a lot of people, when they start to do this work, and they say it's really hard to look at what I'm hiding from myself, or to be honest with myself, or to constantly monitor my thoughts so I can reset my love filters to Rachma and Kuba, and I have to stop them and say, no, what's really hard is living without doing any of that. What's really hard is living in the lie that other people cause my emotions and reactions and I'm a helpless victim. What's really hard is living in the lie that I'm hurting everybody with my words and my actions and my choices of behaviors, and I have to monitor everything they say and do, so that when they're angry at me, I have to immediately change my behavior and assume responsibility for it. That's really hard.
Yeah.
It just gets so much lighter and so much easier and so much more productive in life when I don't live in that lie and I live more from the truth and direct observation. I have better night's sleeps. I have more energy during the day. When I stay away from the sugar and the caffeine and the alcohol, I get more done in every day, and I have fewer aches and pains. It's the exact opposite of what most people tell me that they're afraid it's going to happen. And I can't convince them of it. They have to try it for themselves and see the results. But, I can share my experience, and my experience is the opposite of what they're all convinced by the culture is going to happen. I mean, you can't listen to the television very long.
Excuse me, go ahead, Tim.
You can't listen to the television very long without being told you need the stimulants and the sugar and the drugs and you get inundated with all of the building blocks for the realities of fear, and that's very difficult to overcome unless you unplug from it.
I think what happens when people start to do this work, I think what happens is that people confuse being hard with effort. Because if they come from 1,000 generations of hostility, I don't need to say they, if we come from 1,000 generations of rage, of fear, of yelling, of screaming, of violence, etc., that stuff's so natural that it takes absolutely no effort. You don't even have to think about it. In fact, if you do think about it, it's out of your mouth before you know it. And as you say, that's a hard way to live. But there's no effort involved in it because it's just natural. It's what's become natural because of the insanity in the generations.
Yeah, you mean automatic?
Yes, automatic, effortless. Takes no energy whatsoever. Just bang, just do it. In terms of the action itself, the long-term effects of it, that's the stuff that's hard to put up with and deal with. But when one decides or chooses to change that dynamic, then they have to start putting in effort. So where yesterday they're in a situation with their child or their parent or their spouse or their neighbor or the guy down the whatever. Now all of a sudden they have to put some effort into thinking and choosing behaviors that really support their human lives. And that does take a significant amount of effort if we come from 1,000 generations of unconscious insanity. And the way you can tell, of course, whether you come from 1,000 generations of unconscious insanity is if the instant things aren't going your way, you go into a fit of rage. You go into some form of hostility. And if so, that hostility is the generational insanity that's built up and is taking over. And that in order for your mind to produce, your emotions, your body to produce that rage, there is a significant amount of energy, rage, stored somewhere in your tissue structure. And where it's stored, it's in the process of destroying your tissue structure. So when you begin to wake up, you start to feel what's going on in the tissue structure. And yesterday you could blame some sort of a bug, the flu bug got me or what have you. But once you start to wake up to what you've put in the tissue, you start realizing, these are the things I need to change. If I correlate how I feel with my emotional state, I'll find that my aches and my pains, or, I have this hurt going on. What were you doing 5 minutes ago? I just screamed at my spouse. I didn't say a word, but under my breath I had this raging, man, do I ever want to say something? And here I am in pain 5 minutes later. Well, guess what? It's called sin. S-I-N, self-induced nonsense. Not required, changeable. But not changeable unless you have forgiveness.
Yeah, I can't get over, the more I work with this material, the elegant simplicity. So often in the group when these things come up, people start getting caught up in the mental games and thinking that it's very difficult. How do I do this? How do I do that? And are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I heard a beep, so maybe Michael's not there. But
say again?
Well, I just heard a beep, and I thought maybe your call gotten dropped. The elegant simplicity is all I have to do is keep my mind focused on my mind, and anytime there's hostility or fear, I know I'm making a mistake. I simply have to just watch my own negative reactions of any kind. It isn't complicated. But again, it's like digging a ditch. Digging a ditch isn't complicated, but that doesn't mean it's easy. I have to do the same thing over and over again, thousands of times, shovel in, dirt out. Because shovel in, dirt out doesn't make a ditch. Well, I can't just, for a day or two, watch my anger and then catch myself when I'm angry and reset my love filters and say, I'm all better. But with consistent application of that simple process of monitoring my own thoughts and simply calling a time out for myself whenever I'm feeling any form of hostility or fear, the process gets easier and easier. It's that simple. And then once I train myself to understand that nobody else is causing my emotions or reactions, then it becomes possible for me to understand I'm not causing anybody else's. And the liberty that comes with that is unspeakable. It's just amazing.
For sure. And one of the things that in the Why book that I say is that to a complex mind, the truth is complex, and to a simplified mind, the truth is simple. And when people first start doing this work, they usually make this big, complex, difficult, kind of thing out of it. And once you start taking the complex hiding that you've done, all the complexities behind which you hide the hostility and fear, and wipe them out, clean them out of the drive, then all of a sudden gee, it's so simple. It's like just so simple. And as you say, not always easy. Definitely takes that effort and work.
Yeah, well, but once I do it, then once I realize that if somebody's coming at me in anger, once I've gotten to the point where I realize nobody else is causing my anger or hurt, then I realize I'm not responsible for this person's anger or hurt. Then I don't have to get defensive. And now I'm freed up to look at them through the eyes of compassion and understand they can't be attacking me with anger unless they're in pain. So now I'm seeing somebody who's in pain in front of me instead of somebody that I need to attack. And the whole process starts to unfold in a completely different way.
Yeah, whole different spiral happens. And the recognition that a lot of relationships are based, or most relationships actually, especially initially, are based in matching bags of garbage. That people will be attracted through resonance to those who have similar energy, similar frequencies. That's just how an energetic universe works. And that unless I have a match to their fear, pain, sadness, grief, rage, whatever it is, I'll do nothing except stand in the space of being, stand as a space of love. And what happens is that as one person in the space of insanity holds to the active presence of love, the insanity begins to dissolve, begins to dissipate, because anything that never belonged in the structure starts to fall apart. As soon as one person in the structure shines the higher mind on it, those things simply have to begin to dissolve. And so, a lot of people, they'll look at the relationship commitment that we teach in our Healing Through Relationships workshop, and they'll say, well, what if my partner doesn't want to do that? It's like, well, okay, so what? Well, if they're not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. I said, okay, so let's see. Now, that's kind of like, I've had this argument going on with American Airlines for 20 years, and I go to their website and I buy their most expensive ticket, and then the day the plane is going to leave, I call them and say, and I'm not going to get on your darn airplane, so there. It's like, hello? Is that sane? Why do I live the relationship commitment? And it's on the website if you want to download it. It's right there on the front page in many languages. Why do I live that? Because when I live it, I get to heal and I get to express my human life. If somebody else doesn't do it, I'm not going to do it because they won't. What kind of a definition of insanity is that? It's like a perfect one. And so I do it unilaterally. Now, certainly a lot more fun if somebody wants to do it with you. But if you see somebody in pain and you don't have matching pain, you will feel nothing but compassion in the active presence of love. And that's one of the powerful things in this work as you begin to undo and unwind the generational insanity. And a lot of people don't want to go in and unwind that stuff because they have to go back and feel it and deal with it. And it comes up in huge, huge pieces oftentimes. And the person who won't let themselves go there and feel that and deal with that they always go into some sort of a defense posture or some sort of hostility or fear, or they run away, doesn't ever get to heal those things. And they wonder why. Actually, there's a book written about this. I think it's called Why Is This Happening to Me Again? They play the same dynamic over and over and wonder why each relationship is the same and why they're feeling what they felt 25 years ago. Oh, it must be my partner's fault that I'm feeling this. It's like, no, I'm feeling it because it's in me. And I could experience exactly what my partner just did and have no response whatsoever except compassion and love. Unless I have a matching bag of garbage, which I probably do, and then together we'll get the opportunity to learn forgiveness. And so it is so much more fun when two people choose to do it together that you don't have to be on your own doing it, but it certainly is not a requirement.
Yes,
Jeanie, do you have any?
It is delightful when people join together to do this, and the Tuesday group. The Tuesday group is just weekly evidence to that effect. So let's go ahead and see if Jeanie's got anything.
No, there's nothing going on in the chat room or on the switchboard, so keep going.
Well, if anybody has a comment or a question, about the practical application, about the worksheets, about anything we're talking about, anything we teach, please pick up the phone. The call-in number is 646-200-4169. Please pick up the phone, call us. We'd love to hear your question. We'd love to support you in whatever your dilemma is, if you have one going on. And let me add that any issue, any situation, I don't care how dire, how crazy, how insane it is changeable with the use of these tools. As we said, it takes effort, but it's changeable. Jeanie, how about you? Do you have any thoughts to share with us on these topics? You were bantering so awesomely with Tim yesterday. I'd love to hear more of your thoughts.
No, actually I don't, but we do have a caller now. So area code 702, you're on the air. Who do we have, and where are you calling from?
Hello, Michael and Jeanie. This is Claudia Andraki from Las Vegas.
Well, how are you, Claudia?
I am doing awesome, actually. I'm doing really good. Yesterday, Stephen was in our office, so we were just a busy day of the week because it's the only day he's in our office. And it's just one person after another we just sat and we talked to and gone through counseling. And it's so true that when you actually start doing your work, you feel nothing but compassion for them. Because you feel you were there at one point, and now you actually see the truth of where your anger and your rage and your fears are coming from, instead of you just sympathize. I don't know if it's sympathize or if there's a compassion for them, that you just want to help and hopefully help them see their truth behind all of their anger. And it was an amazing day for me yesterday, so it was really cool.
Awesome. Well, it's so fun to have you guys out there working with so many people in your offices and the two different support groups you've got going on. Anybody that's in Las Vegas, Miss Claudia has a every other Tuesday night, if I'm remembering correctly, or Thursday night?
Yep, it's the first and third Tuesday of the week. I have it at my office, the Spanish support group, and then tonight we've got the one in Pahrump, so it's the first and third Thursday in Pahrump for the English. So.
Awesome. Well, it's sure fabulous to have you guys on the team and to have you doing the work with and introducing it to so many people. It's just you bless us by your presence on the planet.
Well, you've blessed us, that's for sure. So it's been amazing to see the difference, that you actually sit back and you think before you talk instead of just reacting to the situation. One of your workshops, you would always mention that it's easy to continue doing what we've been doing, but it's a hard way to live. It's easy, but it's hard. And the same is true for the other way. If you actually start doing your work, it's hard work that you got to do it, but life is so much easier with it.
For sure, the benefits are huge. Share with us one of the shifts that you've seen with some of the people that you're working with out there in Las Vegas or in Pahrump.
Well, for one, was been Bertha. You met her. She's continued to do the work she does. She's an MA, one of the other offices here in Las Vegas, and she continues to do work with the patients. And she says the difference now with her is that now she really truly feels that she's helping. As before, she didn't believe in depression. She didn't believe in, like, why would you feel this way when you have everything going for you? And she's able to talk to them and help them through their situation instead of just kind of saying what she thought she was supposed to say. And so I've seen a big change in her. She's working on now. Tuesday we did a worksheet for her because she has her nursing degree in Mexico, but she never went to the extent of getting her nursing degree here in Las Vegas. In the United States, all it takes is for her to go take a test. And we did a big breakthrough on Tuesday that she realized why she's so afraid to go take this test when all it is a test, and she knows it. She's been working here in the U.S. as a medical assistant, which she is certified to do, for over 12 years. So she knows that it's most likely going to be a relatively easy test for her, but when she was going through nursing in Mexico, her first semester, she flunked out. So she's terrified that she's going to start here and she's going to flunk out just like she did at first in Mexico. So she had that breakthrough the other day, and it was amazing. And through all this time, she kept bringing it up that people keep throwing it in her face that she doesn't have her degree here in the U.S. and that she said that it's her own fault that she doesn't have it. And this time is the first time she actually got to where her fear is in terms of why she doesn't have it, instead of blaming everybody else for telling her that she doesn't have it. So,
congratulations, cool. Bertha. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was really cool for her.
Yeah, it's so incredible to watch and listen to the kinds of changes that happen in people's worlds when they choose to use the tools. It's just heartwarming and mind-boggling.
It is. It really is amazing. One of the confessions she made the other night was this, when she first started coming to the classes, she was more doing it to please Dr. Andraki. She goes, he's my boss, so I'm going to do it just to make him happy. It doesn't matter. And now she goes, she realizes the reason why she did it was because she really did need the help. And now she continues to come without Dr. Andraki having to tell her to come. So
it's interesting how long it takes for somebody to get that, isn't it? To have
right.
the brain cells. You know, you go back to the ancient Ar-amaic, and Ye-shua says that his teachings for those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And until we've got the brain cells, it's not a choice we can make. You know, it's so logical, and everybody goes, well, look, all the benefits, and okay, so what? But if you don't really have the brain cells inside, it's not an option.
Right.
You can't function on the brain cells you don't have. So if somebody hangs around long enough and builds a brain cell, that's when they start to go, oh, now I see.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when that happens. One of the things that I have been blessed with, and I've been always, I think, I've always had a relative compassionate heart for people. I've always been open to listen to them and try to find the best in people, and I don't see that in my father, and I don't see that in my mother, so I don't really know where I got it from. But it really has helped me more doing this work and saying, you know what, I was doing all the right things from the beginning, but I'm glad that I now have the tools to get down to the parts of myself that were hidden from me that I wasn't seeing at the time. So.
Well, you're a pretty intuitive lady, and you know what you were describing about Bertha earlier and how she's working with people. It sounds like her intuition is kicking in, and that's a faculty with which you probably brought in these characteristics that were not in your family system, and you went, oh no, there's another level here, and living from that other level. And I suspect that's one of the reasons why, as Jeanie did, you were able to be exposed to this work for a couple of weeks, and there you were helping people use the tools because you have that higher faculty as Jeanie does, and you guys being twin sisters and all.
I think we are.
I think so too, and
I'd like to remind you, Claudia, at the beginning, remember it was, why do I have to do this and not you?
Right,
and then you saw it, you grabbed it too, so we're all the same boat.
I know. It was funny, the conversation, I remember it every time that I'm sitting in the car driving and Stephen is telling me, Michael is coming into town and you really need to go see these, listen to him and get some work done. And I'm like, why me? It's like, I'm not the source of my stress. You're the source of my stress. And no, it was me. I realize it.
Yeah, it's a fun insight to have, and it definitely changes the quality of life, doesn't it?
Right, it does. It really does. I think our marriage has never been better. The last 11 months since we first met you in November of last year. It's been amazing. It's been really good. It's been awesome.
Well,
and just the fact that I'm able to call in. I remember many times you guys, you should come on in and talk on the radio, and I'm like, no, not having any progress. So it's been awesome. I wanted to thank you guys for all your awesome work that you've taught us, and the radio show's been amazing, and the support groups that we established down here. actually, I look forward to Thursdays now to be able to see the changes in the people that I help out in Pahrump a lot more. The one here in Las Vegas, the Spanish one, I get one or two new people, and then they come in for one class and then they don't come back. But Bertha and Adriana are the single ones that keep coming back every time, so I see the changes in them. It's a little bit more drastic to see the changes of the people in Pahrump and to see the amazing how they become totally different people from the first class to the next class. So it's been great.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you. You guys have a great afternoon. Enjoy your beautiful weather. It is 66 degrees here in Las Vegas. We got down to 37 last night at our house. So.
Oh, really? Well, it's probably about 8 here right now. I'm actually sitting out in the sunshine, and it's a nice breeze and beautiful, clear, totally clear blue skies. It's just awesome.
Well, enjoy it while it lasts.
Well, we'll be in Florida before it's over. I just actually checked, and we're supposed to have this, except for one day of scattered thunderstorms. We're supposed to have this for at least the next 10 days. So it is.
And what days are you going to be in Florida?
We're going to be heading out of here around the 27th, 28th, 29th, something like that, of the month to Florida,
okay,
and
cool.
then we'll be there through next June.
Perfect. Well, then I will get the doctor that I met with down there your information so that he can be in touch with you. He is just outside of Orlando, and he was really interested in setting up some stuff with you. So I'll get you his information and same to him. So perfect.
That would be fabulous if you'd get some information to us. We were actually looking at scheduling a week in Orlando, even though we don't have a speaking engagement there. So maybe that's why we're doing it, because we
there
do
you
have
go.
some speaking don't know about yet. So that's cool.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys, and we love you. And you take care of yourselves, okay?
Okay. Blessings.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. He's doing some awesome work.
Oh yeah, it's just so cool.
So anybody that has a call or a question, 646-200-4169, and press 1. There's several people that are on the switchboard. If you want to talk, please hit 1, and it'll let me know, and I'll turn you on. Otherwise, David has now joined us on the switchboard, and there's still nothing going on in the chat room.
Awesome. Well, why don't you bring David in to say hello?
All right, David, hi.
Good afternoon, David. How are things in Louisville?
They're going well, Michael. I'm just returning from an appointment and just was able to get on the show, and nice to be connected with everyone. It's going pretty well. As with everyone seems to be, the weather is just absolutely spectacular here and unusual for this time of the year, 75 and 80 degrees. So it's good. It's good. Still processing, still lots of little different things, seeing things differently each day, and taking my day and looking at it of how important and valuable that it is for me to be conscious and holding the presence of love all the time. For myself as well as others.
For sure. I certainly relate to that. It's the greatest gift that we can give to ourselves and anybody else to actually function as a human life. I was telling somebody today that I've been thinking about starting a foundation called the Foundation for the Restoration of Human Life to Planet Earth, because when you look around at the way the planet's functioning, there is so little human life. There is so much rage and fear and grief or conditional decent behavior toward people. Yes, I behave wonderfully toward the people that I love and that I, have in my family, but you get one of those people I call the enemy, hey, I'm going to go get a gun and shoot him. And it's like, whoa, whatever happened to actually functioning as love? Whatever happened to the teachings of the man that said, love those who hate you, do good to those who despitefully use you? Doesn't sound very practical, until you understand the physics of the thing. And when you do, you get to reclaim your human life by living as the active presence of love. And David, I acknowledge you for the Herculean challenges that you've been going through the last couple of weeks while you've been in Louisville, and just coming back to that love. Keep coming back with every layer that comes up. It's awesome.
Thank you. And, it is a result of, as I look at it, I have no idea of why things happen the way they do and how they unfold. I do know that I am part of that, and to be able to be here with everything going on, it reminds me of the statement that you make when people come in first attend an intensive, to say, we've invited everyone here. Well, I've invited myself into this arena and of everything. So not only do I invite people to the intensive, now I'm in the intensive. The truth of it is, this is an intensive for me. And preparing for it and doing the work consistently and daily. And, my take of it is that, we have to begin somewhere. And if people would just begin and do one little simple thing each day, just one little simple thing, then there's the preparation. Because had I not, I can only imagine what it would be like here. As challenging as it is with this, without the tools, as you and I talked about the other day, I just do not understand how people can live their life without the tools. And in essence, they're in survival mode all of the time. There are a few moments, I think, that people are, that they get to see and to experience through life, and it's nice to be able to choose no matter what it is or not. Whoa. So, thank you, everyone, again, and keep doing the work.
Well, it's a delight to have you on the team, and it's an honor to be supporting you. And I acknowledge you for all the years of work that you've done, and in particular the past 6 years or so at Heartland, and how diligent you've been at doing your work, and you've certainly earned the rewards you're getting now.
Thank you. I keep muting my phone because I'm driving and in traffic, and so it takes me a second to get it back on. Yeah, and and everyone, I can now look and see how every look back. One of the things that's talked about, I think it is in the book that says, unless I'm willing to examine and to look at the past, then my future is going to remain the same as what my present is. It's about really looking at that and seeing what, using the past as a way of connecting and healing so that I can draw myself to a future and create a future that's unlike the past and unlike even the present. Without the present, you're the one tool that you use and that you talked about the gift. There is a gift, and the gift is the gift forgiving. When forgiving, you never cancel truth, only shadow laid over the truth. Our present reality, the purpose of the output of our mind, will forever influence our future actuality until we learn to forgive. We can only change our future to the extent that we exercise choice and receive our, quote, present, unquote, gift. Therefore, our present is a gift for our future. As long as the non-being mind rules our perception, we will never experience the true present, quote, unquote. as the present will always be an effect of our past. We must reach the point where we can change our present in order to effect change in our future. The power to do this is called choice. The tool is forgiveness. You cannot change your future if your present is negative, and you will not forgive the vibration from your past that has created the present, which prevents you from receiving the present. So, if that made any sense to anyone, well, then I believe it's on the website as one of the tools that someone can download and take a look at that and see what it means for them. So that's what it's like for me.
Well, you certainly deserve the rewards that you're getting in terms of the shifts and changes that you're seeing in yourself and the people around you. It's awesome. But I went and reached for the book, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And in front of the first chapter is a section called Life Without Tools. And I was inspired to share that. So it goes like this: life with tools is awakening and delight. Information with tools is power. Power with tools is service. Relationship with tools is interdependence. Knowledge with tools is safety. Commitment with tools is a blessing. Abundance with tools is easy. Health with tools is natural. Learning with tools is education. Ambition with tools is accomplishment. A world with tools is peaceful. Having tools and using them leads to aliveness. And then there's a section on life without tools. Life without tools is sleep and hell. Information without tools is impotence. Power without tools is dictatorship. Relationship without tools is codependence. Knowledge without tools is dangerous. Commitment without tools is hopeless. Abundance without tools is loss. Health without tools is impossible. Learning without tools is chaos. Ambition without tools is corruption. A world without tools is war. Having tools and not using them is life without tools. And sadly, we live in a world that should have handed us these tools right from the womb on, right from day one. Somehow or other, it got lost. And it's time for restoration. So that's what we're here for. So if you have any questions about what we mean by restoration, if you have any questions about anything that we're speaking of, we would love to hear from you. If you've downloaded the worksheet and there's a step in it that you go, that doesn't make sense to me, I don't understand it, please call us with a question. And we are delighted to support you in that. And if you're not familiar with the whole forgiveness conversation, if you go to the website, www.whyagain.com, on the right-hand side, you'll see a link that says Download Worksheets, and the first 4 links will give you Chapter 24 of my book. It will give you the latest reality management worksheet process, and it will give you the 3rd and 4th links are radio shows that were just particularly meaningful in terms of the worksheet process and how to do forgiveness. So if you have any question of that, please just jump on the website and especially listen to that 3rd link. It's an hour radio show. It was a show we did a couple of weeks ago, actually probably over a month ago now. And it just shows the awesome power of forgiving, of not letting other people off the hook, but really delving in and looking inside yourself at what's going on there, uncovering it and letting go of it. So, Jeanie, do we have any questions, thoughts? Callers?
No, we're down to about 6 minutes, but nobody has their hand up, and there's nothing going on in the chat room. We've got 3 people out there, and they're just sitting quietly listening. So if anybody does have a question, 646-200-4169, press 1.
David, do you have any other thoughts to share? Dr. Tim?
Tim there?
Am I there?
I don't know.
There you are.
We're all here.
Okay. Well, the one thing I was thinking about is that, Michael gives the Einstein quote about the human being is a part of the whole called by us the universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts, and his feelings as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. And that's usually where Michael stops the quote. The second part of the quote for me is even more important for this work. And it was at the root of the big discussion that came up in the group on Tuesday night, because Michael, in one of his new lectures, mentioned the idea that originally we'll start to do these forgiveness worksheets to dismantle our false judgments against ourselves for negative feelings and emotions. But eventually we'll start doing worksheets for the positive events in our lives. If anytime we think somebody else has caused us to be happy or caused us to experience joy or love, then we also need to do a worksheet. And the second part of the Einstein quote goes like this: this delusion of separation is a kind of a prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty.
What a genius, eh?
Wow. And you talk about honoring people for Memorial Day and putting an end to war. If this were practiced, there could be no war. If I widened my circle of compassion to include all people and all of nature in its beauty, it would not be possible for me to harm another. And that's one of the things that I really like about this work, Michael, and what Ye-shua taught, is that he's relentless in applying a fundamental observation. And so many people who come from different religions have taken fundamental observations and apply them in their book or in their Bible or in their Quran or in their Torah. And then in a few situations for people nearest them, in the village they live, we have to love one another. But for the village next door, we can change that rule a little bit, and we can get angry at them because they're different, or their skin is different, or they live farther away, or because we're in competition for the same water source.
Or usually because they have something we want.
Yeah. And then at the next level up, we can bend the rule even more because these are people who live in another country. Or we can bend the rule even more because these people don't want to accept our version of God. And then the next thing you know, I love everybody in my family more than I love people across town, and I love my family and the people across town far more than I love the people in another country, and so it's okay for me to go to war with them. So the fundamental observations, as soon as they're distorted at any level, violence is occurring. And that's one of the things that I absolutely resonate so deeply with me about Ye-shua's work and about your work, Michael, is it doesn't matter what I believe the source of my pain or suffering is. I need to realize it's in me and pull out a worksheet and dismantle it, that there are no excuses. And Guy Finley says we must actively steal from ourselves every excuse to be angry, negative, bitter, resentful, whatsoever. We must actively steal those excuses from ourselves.
And that's what most people most want to stay away from. And we're down to about 5 seconds, Tim. So we're going to just ask everybody to have an awesome day. Do your work, please. Bring a stranger with you tomorrow, and we'd love to hear from you. Hope your day is blessed and you have the best year yet of your eternal life. Take care.
Namaste.
Thank you for listening to MindShifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife Jeanie, who present the internal Ar-amaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeanie are here every Monday through Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com.